President Trump waging war on wind energy. He's considering halting all wind development on federal land. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum joins me now. Mr. Secretary, look, I thought we needed all forms of energy, including wind, to power AI. But it looks like the administration's killing the entire wind industry. Is it?
Well, Stu, what we need in America is we need reliable, affordable American energy, and President Trump's energy dominance agenda is going to deliver that, along with lower taxes, lower regulation, lower energy costs, helping us win the AI arms race against China. He's delivering all of that. But what we're stopping doing, and again with the support of Congress in the One Big Beautiful Bill, is ending the last 33 years of highly subsidized preferential treatment for certain forms of energy, and that energy, particularly wind and solar, intermittent, expensive, and often components coming from China. And so it's we're against things that are bad for the economy and expensive for taxpayers and are help destroying the reliability of our grid.
You're calling Obama and Biden's green energy subsidies, you're calling them tax schemes. Now, that's a pejorative. Is there any way you can claw back the money?
Well, certainly what we want to do is stop these projects from going forward. It is a tax scheme. If you take a look at the economic value of some of these wind projects, and you take particularly like offshore, 60 to 70% of the total project value was the preferential tax treatment, which could be transferred and sold to other companies. And so, these were great for people that were looking for tax advantage, but they're not great for the grid. Yesterday, we've had this super high heat from Washington to New York. We've had times during the last couple of days where, in spite of the hundreds of billions of dollars this country spent on wind, we only had like 1% or 2% of the electricity being generated by wind. And then, of course, when the sun goes down, you have a catastrophic failure called sunset, and there's no solar energy produced. And yet we're subsidizing these things that are intermittent, unreliable, and expensive. So we've got to get back to baseload. We over-rotated towards the renewables. You destabilize the grid unless you've got the baseload electricity, and that can come from hydro, geothermal, nuclear, oil, gas, all kinds of sources. And like we were this last week, over 90% of the energy between Washington, D.C. and New York was coming from fossil fuels and from nuclear. That's what's running our country right now. That's what's going to continue to run our country. And that's what we need for us to be prosperous as a nation.
You've laid out a clear policy here of ending the Green New Deal and ending the subsidies on wind and solar projects. I got all of that. I haven't heard much of an outcry from the climate crowd. Is the era of climate hysteria over?
Well, I think one thing that's definitely changing is that there's a fissure within the, I'll call it the environmental community, because people understand that when you've got 1,500 wind farms, 76,000 windmills, wind towers in America. Clearly, the amount of birds that are being killed on onshore projects by wind is substantial, and I don't think the data is good. Birds get killed, they drop to the ground. In my home state, like North Dakota, where we had a substantial amount of wind, the coyotes love it because you got taxpayer subsidized protein falling from the sky. So the fat coyotes living on the ground like them, but it's tough on birds. Offshore, we know now that the commercial fisheries are against this. The fishermen do not like these offshore wind farms. We've got dead whales showing up on beaches. And the Biden administration was so preferential towards these projects, they cut the revenue by 80% on federal leases if you were leasing something for wind versus if you were leasing it for other forms of baseload energy. And so it wasn't just the tax breaks that were being given by Congress. There was executive action taken by the Biden administration to pre-approve 3.5 million acres of offshore territory. Not appropriate consultation with local communities, with tribes, with fishermen. I mean, part of what we have to do on federal lands is make sure we're listening to everybody when we put these projects together. And it was straight through for the wind lobby under the Biden administration.
I just want to do an update on Alaska. President Trump's announced a new trade deal with South Korea. They're going to buy $100 billion worth of our natural gas. You're building a pipeline in Alaska, removing restrictions on that project. So I understand the South Koreans will eventually be buying Alaskan nat gas. Is that accurate?
Well, this is part of President Trump's plan about energy dominance. Energy dominance is about selling energy to our friends and allies so they don't have to buy it from our adversaries. It's part of prosperity at home, and it brings peace abroad. Alaska, an enormous resource. It's 8 days by ship from the south coast of Alaska to Tokyo, a few more days to get you to South Korea, but those are two of our biggest allies. We've signed trade deals with both of them. Both of them are going to be buying energy, and this would give them a secure supply chain for clean U.S. LNG coming their way. And of course, there's an opportunity with the capital that those countries want to invest in America, whether it's in shipbuilding, whether it's helping rebuild our steel industry. You need a lot of steel to build an 800-mile pipeline. There's going to be a big opportunity for collaboration. And again, 51 million people living in South Korea, zero oil and gas. 120 million people living in Japan, zero oil and gas. The U.S. has an opportunity when they're going to balance their trade deficit with the U.S. What do you buy? You're going to buy ag products, you buy energy products, you're going to buy defense projects. Alaska is made for us to help support all of our Pacific allies across that region.
I tell you, Mr. Secretary, times have really changed in the past 12 months, haven't they? Mr. Secretary, thanks for joining us this morning. Always appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Stu.